What is up, fellow gamers? This is Odang Gaming, where I play a little bit of everything and talk about a little bit of everything. Now, the Diablo series is one of my favorite of all time. I've sunk over 1,500 hours on Diablo 3 alone. Probably one of my favorite games ever. So, I was excited about Diablo 4. I played all the betas. I've been putting in the time. And I'm ready to talk about it with anybody out there who wants to listen. Now, Diablo 4, I've been enjoying it, and there is some things about it I don't like, and I'm hoping gets fixed, and there's a lot of hate out in the internet talking about the game being terrible, and I think some of it's justified, and some of it's blown out of proportion. So we're just going to talk about it from my point of view, and we're just going to jump right into it and talk about Diablo 4 in review. First off, I want to talk about the storyline, like the quests and like the cutscenes overall in the game. I think they're great. The story is awesome, possibly one of the best that were put out this year. The cutscenes are just dark and brutal and really hit home to, like, I think what the game is trying to get you to feel and what Diablo is about. Lilith is a awesome villain. Almost every scene with her is just badass. So it's got to be one of the better storylines I've played in a while. That was probably one of the things I enjoyed about the game the most during my first playthrough. So that's something that no one should have to worry about in this game. I think everybody who plays it is going to enjoy the story. Another thing I think that Blizzard did well for Diablo 4, and it was basically a no-brainer, is the graphics. The way things looked, the way things felt for this game definitely felt darker. And the graphics are outstanding, and obviously next-gen graphics are going to be much better than the previous game, but I thought that they did a really great job with a lot of the ways they made the world look and the details and a lot of like the cutscenes and the actual characters during gameplay. I think that the mounts look really well done for how small they are with the over-the-top view. I just think overall the graphics are just better and just another great selling point to the game. Another big improvement and selling point for me with Diablo 4 was the overall feeling and gameplay of boss fights. I thought it was much better this time around. I love Diablo 3 and I thought they did a great job too, but I just like how in Diablo 4 you'll be in the level, you walk into the room and the boss is just like there and it's like a big badass NPC that you have to take care of. As opposed in Diablo 3, there'd be like a little cutscene maybe. You'd almost like go into your own little level to fight the boss, and it just always felt a little different than the actual game that you were playing. And I feel like Diablo 4 like seamlessly puts the bosses in there. And I think the bosses are tougher and more challenging than Diablo 3 bosses. Like in Diablo 3, it seemed like after your first playthrough, you would just be destroying bosses. Like that was the joke, like how fast could you destroy them? And I feel like even after my first playthrough in Diablo 4 that I'm still challenged in finding bosses that are tough to deal with. So far so good in the boss department. I feel like it's a great improvement for the Diablo series. And I think some of the Diablo 4 bosses are some of my favorite in all of the games so far. So that's also something to be said as far as like design and the way they fit into the story goes as well. With all that being said, I would like to dive into some of the things about the game I dislike and some of the problems I think that we're all talking about that I can agree with. And if you're no stranger to the internet and paying attention to games, there seems to be a lot of chatter about problems with Diablo, and there's some truth to some of the stuff out there, and I agree with a lot of it. And first off, the game itself just feels incomplete. And companies like Blizzard like to get away with stuff like this, and we let them because we're big fans and we love the games they put out. But we all play the betas, put the money in, we wait, and we get this unfinished product, it feels like, and it feels like a slap in the face. And just for me in general, I still am really enjoying the game, but for me, I don't like that where Diablo 3 ended and where Diablo 4 starts, it seems like we went backwards. You were able to do so many things by the time you were done playing Diablo 3, and it seems like Diablo 4, we're back in the beginning, waiting to do all those same things all over again. I mean, I can't even make anything bigger than just a regular emerald, for Christ's sakes, and I'm over 100 hours in, and getting to tier 3 takes some time, and I feel like tier 3 is the start of when you actually get gear that's worth keeping and manipulating and stuff like that, and that's a lot of time to put into a game to, get decent gear finally, and I think that's, in its own way, just a slap in the face. And not only like keeping gear that you find isn't hard enough already, because the stash size that we get is kind of a joke. It costs a crap ton of money, of course, to upgrade your stash. Gold is definitely like a more rare commodity in Diablo 4 than Diablo 3 because things are expensive. And in the very beginning, if you're blowing money, you'll notice it's hard to hold on to it, and things are so expensive. And all the things you do around town are expensive, so stash size is important, and it feels like you could fill up your stash so fast in the game. And it just seems so annoying for a game I paid, like $90 for. Not to mention, doing those things around town is kind of a pain in the ass in its own way. Now, this is going to sound so tedious to some people, but for me, the town designs are shit. I feel like in Diablo 3, getting around to different areas in the town and like going to the gem person and going to your merchant and then going to your stash, it was like a few feet away from each other. It was all very close, and you could go through it very fast, and I enjoy that because you will spend a lot of time on builds and going to these different people for different items and stuff like that, and you don't want to sit around like in Diablo 4 and running from one side of town to the other, whether you have a horse or not. It just seems so tedious to like get your errands done around town in Diablo 4, and it just seems like we're wasting time doing that stuff, which already takes enough time already. Like, builds don't take enough time. Like, we have to run around town like a soccer mom trying to get groceries and pick up the kids and shit, and it's just like, it seems so annoying. So maybe that's just me, If you feel that way, comment below. Another thing that kind of grinds my gears about this game too is the idea that they brought in clans to the game, which could be an awesome idea, shared golds, shared stash, all kinds of different ways to utilize the clan. But as of right now, all you can do is just have people join your clan, and you can kind of keep track of their progress in the game a little bit through the clan, but that's about it. It's almost a pointless feature right now. I'd really like to see where it goes later. I think there's some great potential. I loved the idea when I first heard about it, but as of right now, it just seems pretty pointless. And the last thing that I really just want to, put out there is I'm not a big fan of the new microtransactions that Blizzard's bringing with this game. Now, I never got into Diablo Immortal because it seemed like it was pay to play. I like Diablo 3 because you didn't have to do all that. And I like the idea in Diablo 4 that if you were going to do microtransactions, that maybe you got something for it besides just like transmog of armor for your horse or for your character. Doesn't really separate you from anybody else except the fact that someone might be willing to spend money on their game than somebody else. And then not only that, but the way the game's set up, you don't really get to even see that armor too greatly. I mean, with that above view anyways. So is it really like that important for that? I think the idea of microtransactions could have been utilized better, but overall I just kind of don't care for it. I like that Diablo didn't do stuff like that. And I like that you could earn things by beating certain challenges in the game, maybe especially like during the seasons. So, not a fan. I don't know if I'll ever spend $1 on something like that, since I've already spent $90 on this game and haven't got nothing else back for it so far besides, just a great story and a lot of fun that I've been enjoying the game. Just, there are some things I really don't care for. One of the things I do care for is multiplayer. I play with a couple of my buddies like all the time. Like 75% of my gameplay in Diablo is with buddies of mine. So clans would have been awesome for that reason, but the multiplayer is still the same as the game before. I think it's good. I think it's smooth. I think that it's not too much on the screen. I think it's still quality multiplayer RPG status. and I really enjoy that. And then I think that the seasons so far are pretty cool. I mean, they seem very similar to like the previous game seasons, but instead of, specific challenges or like bounties, we just do hell tides and grim favors and side quests. So it doesn't seem a lot different, but I like that. I enjoyed the season mode in Diablo 3, and I'm enjoying the season mode in Diablo 4. So that's a thing that I think is a plus for the game. And I think as the game goes on, the seasons will probably only get better. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where that leads us with this game. So as with every game, there are things that you're going to like and you're not going to like. Depends on how nitpicky you are. As a big Diablo fan, I might be a little nitpicky. I might be a little biased. I might even had high expectations. We waited a pretty long time for Diablo 4, and I would have waited longer for even something on a grander scale. I kind of wanted to see, new classes and maybe some new moves, and we got a little bit of the new moves, but some of the old classics, and it seems like the classes are all the same, and they're going to be the same, and if we get a DLC, I have a shocking feeling that the Crusader will be the next class if they introduce a new class, which is pretty predictable, but just a thought. But overall, maybe my expectations were too high, but I still am enjoying the game. If I had to give it a solid rating, I would say the game is between like a 6.5 and a 7 out of 10. It's got a lot of great qualities. It's a lot of fun. I still am enjoying playing with my buddies and just, doing quests. It is like at its core what I really enjoy about the game, but I expected some things, and I really didn't think that they would release a game with so many issues and stuff like this, and not to mention some of the gameplay issues that everybody out there is talking about, like, just off-screen damage, and some of the classes don't feel balanced, where, rogues feel OP, and somehow the barbarian is, like, the weakest class, or at least it has felt like that in the last couple weeks. So, but, buffs will be made, nerfs will be made, and I think Blizzard will eventually figure a lot of this stuff out, and I think, just like Diablo 3, the game will improve as it goes on, but I really just wanted a more complete game as for everything we've waited for and the money we paid for all the things, but it is what it is. So, overall, still a fun game. I definitely recommend it if you've, there's a lot of people I know who are playing this game that never played the Diablo series, and they're loving it. And because they don't have any expectations, they don't have any judgments, they're just playing it and they're loving it. And I think if you're a new player, that's the big advantage of playing a game like this. For us who have been playing these games for like the last 5-10 years, like, we just wanted more. We wanted more from Blizzard after all the crap that we've endured from them in the previous years. And, it just is what it is. So, what are you going to do? Praises, complaints, reviews aside, this is a game I'll be putting a lot of time into and definitely be putting out even more content about over many months probably. It's a game that I enjoy playing. I've always liked playing Diablo, and I plan on sharing plenty of content about it. It's a staple in my rotation, especially in between new games that I want to share on the channel, so just keep an eye out for all that content. For those of you watching, just, I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please take that second and hit them like and subscribe buttons. It really does mean a lot to me if you do. I just want to thank you guys again for watching, and this is Oh Dang Gaming, signing off.